Hello, everyone. Today we want to have this meeting to discuss volume attributes class and this controller modify volume RPC in CSI. Okay, so I think we can just get started now. Do we need to share anything? We just talk about it. We need to go look at the CSI spec, or Michelle, how do you want to do this?
So, yeah, I don't really want to discuss like the features in detail today. Like what I
Okay.
want to discuss is the just the general notion that enhancing enhancing an existing feature means that that existing feature cannot be promoted. I think in general, that is not something we want to do. I think it's going to set a bad precedent and it's also going to be um, detrimental to both end users and the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's one topic that we can discuss today. The other one was we had a discussion yesterday about the second story in the cap,
Yeah,
and how we're all very uncomfortable with the fact that the proposed feature doesn't address the second story yet. Doing
sure.
doing the proposed feature will open up a back door whereby someone could violate the spec and implement the second story.
Okay. I think for the purposes in terms of like priorities of discussion, I want to talk about the first and focus on that today because we have a code freeze in Kubernetes next week, and we're trying to promote the core feature to GA. So I want to get that resolved first. Is that okay with folks here?
Sounds fine.
Yeah,
I
sounds
think,
good.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think in general, like,
But Shane,
yeah,
have
go
you kicked
ahead.
off the meeting officially?
I'm
Just keep me.
sorry?
Did you kick off the meeting?
I did. I did.
Okay. Okay, I just joined late. I'm
Reco-
sorry.
Yeah.
recording you mean?
I have, yeah, it's being recorded now. Yeah. So I don't want this one to be added to the CSI community sync agenda, right? So it's okay. This recording will be uh added there. Yeah, so please continue.
Yeah. So I think from my perspective, like, we've been working on this controller modify feature for over a year now. Um, for at least the core use cases and, you know, multiple vendors have implemented uh, the controller modify volume. They've tested it, right? It's gotten usage from feedback and users as well, and users are asking for it. So I think the core use cases we originally built this feature for have been validated, and I think we are, I think it's ready for GA. So I think in that respects, like, I'm I'm comfortable saying that, like, as a core feature, um, this is ready for GA, and any new enhancements to this area have to basically, be backwards compatible and support the core design and architecture of the core feature.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
reasonable stance. I was going to say, that looking at it from a spec design perspective, like what we have is a new RPC, which was marked alpha like all new RPCs, because the principle is we don't know how it's going to go when we develop a new feature, so we want to reserve the right to change it. And here we have an example of it went mostly right, but we missed at least one important consideration, which was the ability to potentially change topologies. So we're considering a change to that API, and
Yeah. But I think
in terms of like how we advertise the status of the RPC to CSI users, it would be disingenuous to say like this is GA when we know we're going to make a change to it shortly. So my
I would
proposal would be
disagree. I would disagree with that because we're not changing it in a way that's backwards incompatible, right? We we need to be able to add and make additive changes to things. Like we've done this before. Like we've promoted, the CSI spec itself to GA when we had plenty of alpha or being discussed prototype features ongoing. And we've had things like cloning and all the data source stuff go GA while we have like cross namespace discussions going on, right? So I think we need to be able to support iterative development. Otherwise, like we're never gonna be able to deliver features to customers in a timely manner, and that's gonna hurt our customers.
So I agree about we need to be able to do iterative development. I agree we need to be able to release code rapidly. I think whether it's designated alpha or not doesn't affect that, right? You can write the code today, you can ship the code. In fact, one proposal is we can just declare the Kubernetes feature GA with an understanding that CSI probably won't make any backwards incompatible changes here, right?
I guess the question there is like, can we have a GA feature depend on something that's alpha and not potentially guaranteed, right? Like I kind of feel like we have confidence in the current API, right? I think we should just say, let's make the current API GA, and any new features that we add to it have to support that, basically.
Right. I don't feel like we have line of sight to whether this API will not need to change in a backwards incompatible way because we haven't resolved the second user story.
Yes, but I
one
feel
way,
like
one way to resolve that second user story is to redesign the whole flow. And
I'm kind of putting my foot down and drawing my line as saying like any new additions that we make to this feature have to support what we declare as GA. Like we can't completely redesign this feature to support this new use case.
I certainly don't want to, but I want to know how we're going to resolve that second question.
Yeah, I just feel like though it's like we're always, whenever we develop features, there's always thoughts about extended use cases and more advanced use cases. Like I don't think we can, when we deliver the initial version of a feature, I don't think we can cover every single possible use case and think about how it can possibly be expanded in the future. Like I think there's always going to be continuous development and continuous expansion. So I think we have to get to a process to support that better.
Sorry to interrupt, Ben and Michelle. Like the topology thing has not, like, we have not even identified how it's going to work. Actually, there's a lot of churn there, and I think the controller modify volume as designed is stable. GA, people are using it, and it seems like, personally to me, like there will be always peripheral features that could affect existing feature, but affect holding this like disabled by default in an alpha and CSI seems wrong, and not wrong, is like counterproductive. We'll never get it GA actually, and then the problem will be like we're not even sure if we need a new RPC call for controller like modifies topology actually, right? So
I think we're trying to get to a slight modification of the existing RPC because we think that will solve at least story one and can be done in a backwards compatible way. So lots of people are comfortable with that, but
no, but we don't have consensus there. So Drew,
sorry, not yet.
Yeah. Drew, go ahead.
Do we need a new CSI stage? Like unstable GA or forward compatible changes? Like, would that solve anything semantically, or is that just bearing the problem?
I mean, so we added alpha because we wanted to be able to put stuff into the spec and reserve the right to yank it later. Because we had experiences with, stuff that was done a little hastily, and then we wish we could have changed it. And so we said, okay, from here on out, we're going to add alpha. We talked about having a beta as well, and we said, well, what would the difference between alpha and beta be? And we concluded there wouldn't be any difference. So we said, well, it's just going to be alpha and GA.
And that aligns with Kubernetes as well. Like, I mean, Kubernetes technically has beta, but for the most part, like, Kubernetes is moving to a model where beta is essentially GA.
Makes sense. So because I just am new to the GA means no forward compatible changes either. I didn't realize that was a CSI like historical tradition.
Yeah, but from this CSI
GA doesn't mean no forward compatible changes.
Gotcha.
I think what GA means is we're not going to break. We're not going to make any backwards incompatible changes.
Okay,
but there's an understanding that, like, a lot of CSI implementers, of which there are like dozens, don't touch alpha stuff because it's not worth their time. They don't want to have to do it twice. And so when we take something out of alpha, it's supposed to be a signal to the implementers, like, you can go ahead and implement this feature now, and we're not going to pull a rug out from under you. And
that's
in this situation where we're contemplating pulling the rug out from,
I don't think that's the case.
Not in a way that breaks them, but like in a way that they would have to come back and re-implement the function.
No, I don't think so. Like, existing people that have implemented the API as is, they will continue to work, right? We're talking about extending this feature to support an extra use case, right? But a lot of the plugins that have implemented the existing functionality don't need that extra use case.
Yeah. So that's why I want to bring the discussion to the core of this thing. Like, the proposed change, if we accept that we only will allow a superset of existing topology to be updated, then the new change that being proposed is basically 100% backward compatible, and there's no reason that feature cannot go through its own life cycle rather than the block hole controller modify volume existing this thing. If it is backward, and it is backward compatible, right? The one that we are leaning towards approving for modifying.
We would require it to be.
That's right.
We can ensure that.
So that's backward compatible, and that should go through its own life cycle. And I don't see why it should block controller modify volume then, right? We are not redesigning.
You're saying if we only address story one and we proceed with the proposal that's on the table, then that's true.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So how do we resolve what we're going to do about story two?
Yeah. So if we are going to talk about, then it, in my mind, that requires a brand new RPC call. We cannot use controller modify volume in that case, and that's something that needs to be thought through. But that again should not block controller modify volume going GA.
But don't you agree that if we later decide we need a new RPC, and that new RPC is substantially similar to controller modify volume, but we decide that we can't modify controller modify volume because we're in a rush to get to GA, then we'll have two versions of controller modify volume, which will be kind of weird next to each other, and we'll wish that we had just done one.
But I mean, like, but that happens to controller modify volume as well. Like, we had the issue of resizing it and modify the QoS.
Yeah.
But like, resizer already is a stable feature.
I mean, we can argue that resizing volume expansion is a subset of controller modify volume, but we do have two different RPC for that. So
you're saying we should just accept that it's gonna be gross?
No. I'm just saying that like the controller modify volume has much more narrower scope than controller expansion, right? So in that way, it was like easier to kind of up. You just control plane. That's it. Now there's a talk of node side controller modify volume or something like that, but that has not happened yet. So the point is like I'm trying to get is like there will always be case like where we wish that we have like if we decide to add a new new RPC for modifying topology, and we wish to merge it. I don't know, like how long we're gonna wait. Like that's the question. I personally, to be honest, I looked at all the CSI driver. I personally do not see a use case of like making a change and like modifying topology at all. Like this was as I said in the original call, this to me seems like a backhanded way of doing volume migration actually, and we're just shoving it down of the CSI spec because it seems convenient to me. I do not want modified topology in CSI spec. I asked more than Alibaba use case, and I found none. Like, does anybody else has a use case? EFS, you cannot promote a zonal volume to regional. I looked it up. vSphere, you cannot. You can only some cases like expand the topology. You cannot do disjoint migration, disjoint movement of the same volume. Nobody else has a use case.
Okay, but the functionality. I mean, yes, I had proposed one way to do this is to basically clone the volume, end up with a new volume, the new topology. But like that would require restarting your workload, given how CRI and CSI are designed today. Don't you agree that there are certain changes that could be made which could affect topology, which you would want to do non-disruptively? I mean, I agree it's more of a migration, but like, isn't that something that is reasonable to support?
Could be. I wanted to hear more storage providers use case just from just Alibaba, to be honest, before we accept it. Like Drew, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think for at least for GCP, even if we need to modify the topology, it doesn't tie with the QoS parameters.
It does or doesn't?
Does not.
So are you saying that you would not want to use controller modified volume to change the volume's topology? You'd want to, or are you saying you would never change the topology at all? I don't.
Like from like a GCP perspective, I don't know if we would actually change the topology at all. I can't think of a
Does
feature.
GCP have the concept of promoting a zonal volume to regional volume while it's in use?
No.
Drew,
all right, well then.
I was just gonna say one thing AWS did back. Oh, am I still online?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
We wanted, modify volume early. CSI was against it for a bit, so we just made our own sidecar. Yeah, that's like a backdoor to the CSI spec, but it was honestly a great way for just one provider to iron out some kinks. And even though it was a bit painful for some customers, like I honestly retroactively see that as kind of a win in terms of making sure other providers, had some kinks ironed out and it turned out fine. So I don't know Alibaba's
are you suggesting that Alibaba could solve their problem with a similar proprietary approach outside of CSI? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, just to while no other storage provider has this feature yet, but it worked out for AWS is all I'm saying there. And honestly, it helped AWS because we were able to go to VAC with what exactly we needed.
And also because AWS had that, and then our customer came to ask us
exactly.
Hey, what you?
Yeah.
So yeah, that to me makes sense. Like it would be nice to have more use cases so that we understand this feature better, how we're going to design it, because it affects scheduling and bunch of other things. So, and I know we will not be able to solve use case 2 that Alibaba has. So with the proposal that is being proposed. So we shouldn't be hasty doing the topology thingy, in my mind. I'm not saying but it would be nice if
I'm a big fan of not being hasty. I guess.
Yeah,
but the fact that topology is well defined in CSI and it's immutable does seem like an unnecessary straitjacket that it would be nice to address at some point.
We can. I would also love to address that, but I feel like we shouldn't hold back the primary use case for controller modify volume to figure that out, because I do feel like figuring that out is going to take time, and I don't think it would not be good for, I think, the end users to continue to hold this back for something that's still in an early unknown phase.
Well, let's suppose we could stipulate that there was some way that we could get the core feature to GA without resolving this issue. How aggressively should we push back on doing anything at all in the CSI layer for this topology?
So again, I want Alibaba folks to answer. Don't want to speak for them, but yeah. I would expect them to gather more feedback. Email SIG storage mailing list. Talk to like maybe ODF, CSI, ODF folks, CEF folks and other providers, and like build more this thing if anybody else has this use case, and like gather a feedback and a proposal that makes sense. So that's what probably we should do, like Alibaba should do, but I don't want to. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
But we noticed that GCP has a original disk. We noticed that GCP have already released the original disk. So he had the zonal disk and he has the original disk. So it's reasonable to think with how a zonal disk to migrate to original disk.
Wait. Right? Who is the he you're referring to? Who has this?
So GCP has zonal disks and regional disks, but they are not migratable. Like you have to, in order to convert it, you have to, basically do a snapshot or a clone. You can't do it in place conversion.
Same with EFS. You have to migrate the data somehow.
But don't you guys agree that that's a shame? That like
it is a shame.
In principle, like you should just be able to press the button and magic should happen. And if CSI is the only thing preventing that, that would also be a shame.
CSI is not preventing that.
No, I mean, if CSI is preventing it from being made available to the masses.
No, it's not. Right, like at least from like a GCP's perspective, it's like the product itself doesn't support it, right? So it's not a CSI blocker.
Okay, so you're saying even if CSI never supported this, you would still want to do it in GCP just for the sake of doing it and making it available to users?
Like, I think it would be a nice experience, but it is a very hard problem because if it's not actually supported by the underlying storage system, then you have to solve all the data migration problems.
Yeah. But we should want to solve those problems.
Yeah, we should.
But I think we have agreement on that. But okay, it's just it hasn't risen high enough priority for anyone other than Alibaba. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I think that the thing is that it's like as you said, like people could do things today with like cloning or snapshotting, right, to do data migrations. I think the reason why like this use case came up in terms of controller modify is because it seems like some storage solutions have a way to do the data migration seamlessly without applications needing to take downtime.
Well, is some equal to one or more than one? Because it sounds like I guess it's just one.
We also have similar use cases. Yeah, so but I don't really want this one to hold off VAC because I think there are still a lot of details we need to figure out.
Yeah, we don't want to hold the VAC too. So yeah, we don't meant to block the whole VAC.
But imagine a situation where we promoted the controller modify volume to GA tomorrow, like when you come back next week and we're saying now should we do something about the topology, and if Alibaba was soliciting the feedback that Hemant suggested they solicit, would VMware or GCP or anyone else say like, yes, we're interested in this, or would they say no, we don't plan on doing that ever? I'm wondering like how much actual support there is for the use case.
I think I thought we had if we kind of narrow down that use case, I thought it is possible to just make that small change, right? If we say, hey, this is like a superset, and that's something that is.
Well, for that one, I
But
have a zonal disk I'm promoting to
so
regional,
that
like, but that's a very specific use case.
right. So that is
Surely there are other ones.
So if this is so I think if we can make it backward compatible, then it's fine. But if it requires like we to break the backward compatibility, then that's not acceptable, right? Then in that case, we just say no, then you have to figure out a different interface, right? Have a new API.
Uh,
I
I think Ben is asking like if we make controller modify volume GA, then like does other storage providers have like this same feature in the roadmap so that they can provide feedback for?
Yes.
And the answer probably is no at this stage, to be honest. At least those that I'm familiar with. Like maybe I don't know. Like
well, but I heard Xing say that they have something. So I wanted to hear what it
but
is.
I don't have a lot of details. So I don't think I will have sufficient time. Have time for providing you like a quick. You want something?
No, not today, but like
Okay.
Alibaba should send an email out to the mailing list saying like, hey, we have this idea. We're looking for others who have the similar idea, and you should respond to that email whenever you have time, if VMware has something.
Yeah, there are more than 100.
I think would be I think would be good if Alibaba you can start to collect use case maybe with a dog. I think that's what we have done for other features, right? So it's mainly sometimes it's just getting lost. I feel if you have like a dog collecting all of those, then we can.
Well, the advantage of the mailing list is it can reach the people who don't show up to these meetings. Obviously, people who are in these meetings can just talk to each other, but the mailing list gives us a chance to catch people. And also, mailing list preserves it for all time, right? Once it's in the mailing list, someone 3 years from now can go see that, it was talked about and then nothing ever happened, and they can try to resurrect it. So it has that benefit.
Okay.
So just to summarize where I think we're at, what I'm hearing is there's a lot of desire to just get controller modify volume to GA and get the feature to GA, and we're willing to put the brakes on topology stuff and take our time making sure we do the right thing there. But we really don't want that to get in the way of this basic feature, which that seems fine with me.
Yeah, that seems to be. We should really gather more use cases for the topology thing, and that'll be really helpful in designing this feature right in CSI spec and Kubernetes.
So do we have an idea of exactly how many different vendors who wanted this feature we would need before we would more seriously consider making progress on it? Like, I think the answer is 1 is not enough. Is 2 enough? Would we require 5? I want.
You have to make a decision right now, right? You want to make because.
Well, I want to be able to give Alibaba an idea of what they need to do if they want to push this forward.
Okay. Yeah, I can gather more user cases. If we want to, we can maybe start an NCU and send the emails to the SIG storage to gather if there is any other vendors willing to willing to add this feature to CSI spec.
Well, in particular, we're looking for other storage vendors that have use cases for changing the topology of an existing volume for any reason. because we're interested in the cases that are different than the Alibaba case, if they exist, right? Because we want to make sure that we design something that addresses everyone's needs, and having multiple vendors weigh in is the best way to sort of shake out other potential flavors of this.
Yeah,
Sure.
agree.
Okay.
There could be cases where where you have to migrate the data, but you don't want to change the volume name. You want to keep and change. So it's like vSphere, for example, has use case where you migrate the data behind the scene. However, you take the disk and move it. You don't want to all the workloads to modify, keep same PV name. So in that case, maybe there's use case there where the topology of the existing PV they want to change. So
So wait, help me understand this. So you're saying that the volume starts out in topology A, and then some administrator behind the scenes says, I would like to move this to topology B, but I'm going to make it compatible with both while it's migrating. So it's in both A and B. And then and the workload can continue running. But then after the migration is done, new workloads can attach to it in topology B. And maybe A goes away at that point, or maybe it doesn't.
So the use case I have seen from our OpenShift customers who use the VMware product is like they frequently want to move between data stores and they want to decommission the old data store, right? So in that case, they are okay with tearing down the workload actually, but they don't want to change their pod, PVC, Helm chart, what have you, like definitions while doing this. They don't because that requires like developers. There's admin side of Kubernetes, the developer side of Kubernetes. So they don't want developers to update their templates. So there are use cases around that, and I think that we should think through, and that'll be useful to consider in a talk. And probably Zing will talk to Broadcom people and other thing and have more use cases. So yeah.
Yeah, that's another interesting use case because it's different than the two in the existing KEP, and it's not a superset use case, so that makes it especially interesting.
Like from what I have seen from our customers, like they're not interested in superset. They want to decommission, like they have a data store that is hard HTTP based, and they migrate this NVMe based data store. They just want to use the faster one.
Okay.
Question, is volume node affinity immutable right now or no? Just if anyone knows. I'm trying to look at the code right now.
It is immutable.
So the first step would be making that mutable, right? Because I can see where like just a simple controller, could just watch, similar to what our old volume modifier did for AWS, just watch an extra tag and then, modify that field if Kubernetes wants to make it mutable, which I think is nice because that's less breaking than all this CSI shenanigans. And that way, one provider can be unblocked with their own custom sidecar, and other providers, if they get this feature, will have, a guinea pig to watch. Or is that not in the spirit of CSI?
No. People doing proprietary things out of tree is very much in the spirit of Kubernetes.
Great.
In fact, that's why CSI was invented, right? So the progress can be made on the fringes, and then it can work its way into the core after you've sussed out all the technical issues.
Is this option explored by Alibaba as well?
Yeah, that's what their cap says, right? They are making that mutable.
Yeah.
No, I mean a custom cycle.
Yeah, we mentioned this. Yeah, we mentioned this. Yeah, our caps. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying it sounds like the KEP is we need it mutable and we need a CSI RPC, but is Alibaba unblocked by making that mutable and then?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean no without CSI changes? That's
where they just do their own sidecar thing unless they find another storage provider that has the same problem. Because in my mind, CSI is nice at deduplicating, work and making sure there's not a bunch of, random APIs like we had for Ingress, where every, implementation had their own label system. But if two providers need it, then they can make it into a shared.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, maybe that's something we could consider.
Yeah, that seems good. Yeah.
Because that way they're also not blocked by, a year of alpha to GA. So it might be a win for them as well.
If you make the affinity mutable, isn't that still needs to go through the alpha beta cycle?
Yes,
yes,
but
but that's
less
just Kubernetes side. Yeah, but no CSI side changes.
Okay.
Not right away, CSI changes. They could come later.
Yeah.
So we got a conclusion that we can make PV affinity mutable first. Then we gather more user
that's
cases.
a decision for
Right,
the
that's a
SIG storage.
suggestion, right? It's so give it a try. You can try that and then cap. And I mean, we are not here to decide whether your cap can be approved or not.
Okay,
Because
okay.
today
I know.
purpose is for
Yeah.
VAC, whether we can.
Yeah.
Right, because your
I
cap is not
think
targeting
what we're trying to
1.84,
decide
right?
here is what to do on the CSI spec changes. And what I'm hearing is we should not merge the changes related to controller modify volume topology stuff, but we should promote the controller modify volume to GA quickly because people are champing at the bit to use the feature in Kubernetes, and CSI is blocking that.
Yes.
So does anyone, and I'm personally okay with that arrangement. Does anyone disagree that we should either not promote the controller modify volume to GA, or that we should try to do something with topology in the short term? I'm hearing silence. I'm hoping that's consent.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, I think we should check in with Saad. Well, we'll have to have a PR to remove the alpha label.
I think Sunny has that already.
Yeah.
Okay, so the PR is out there. Okay, so we should prioritize getting the reviews on the PR and merging it and making sure that Saad and James get a chance to to weigh in.
Is in the CSI. So I'm writing notes in the CSI community meeting. So Sunny's PR is there.
Cool.
Okay.
I would really appreciate if Alibaba for this driving that topology thing and get we should get a Google Doc or something going, gather more use cases and talk to more providers. That'll be really, really helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're saying the existing cap does talk about changing node affinities, because node affinity and topology are not the same thing, right? Unless I'm very confused.
They're the same.
It's related. It's how we represent the topology of a volume.
Okay, but CSI has no exposure to the concept of node affinity.
Correct.
CSI only understands topology. So
basically, the topology that's returned by the CSI driver gets translated into node affinity.
Okay. So node affinity is actually more powerful than what CSI provides.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, it would be interesting to consider an improvement to CSI where the full power of node affinities was exposed from top to bottom.
Yeah. I have ideas.
Just topology.
I have ideas on expanding the node affinity to do preferences, because that's been a long-standing ask since the beginning. I don't really have the use case completely formulated enough to really start discussing something concrete.
But Michelle, even with that, if the affinity rule is immutable, that's still not going to help, right?
Yeah, that's right. As part of that, at least some part of the affinity would have to be made mutable to support preferences.
All right. Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah,
So
we at Alibaba also have use case that we also want to have the preference in the topology. Yeah. Also for our regional disk, the regional disk is faster in some of the zone and slower in another.
Yeah, so I think in general, like I think the whole topology aspect, I think is a pretty open area. And we'll need to have a fair amount of, I think, discussion on that.
All right, are we all set for this meeting? Can we conclude early?
yes, I think we
Yeah.
are set. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Well,
thank you for scheduling this, Shing.
yeah, thank
Thank you
you.
everyone who showed up to contribute.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.